Hey everyone, it's Chris Stone. I'm the Director of Communications here at the National Association for Gun Rights. I'm joined by Austin Hein, who's the Director of Political Operations. Thanks for following us and watching this channel. If you tuned in last week, we sat down and had a discussion about some of our political predictions for the elections that were this past Tuesday. And today we really just want to give an update. Things we got wrong, the state of races. There's still a lot to be settled and decided, but there's a lot of encouraging thing. A lot of pro-gun candidates won. And give everyone an update. Joe was here with us last time. He's not here today, so it's just Austin and I. But let's get into it. Let's break it down and maybe talk about kind of the state of play and,
Sure.
and what y'all's perspective is.
Well, I'll say, because you said, election day, but it's really feeling like election month.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way these early voting systems and the mail-in ballots, it's really thrown a wrench in all these things, and it's been really bad for gun rights in general. But I can go on a tangent for that for an hour or so. But let's go through it. So last week we talked about Alaska as being one of our top tier states, which was Lisa Murkowski, who is a longtime rhino, and up against our endorsed candidate, which is Kelly Tshibaka, who filled out our survey 100%. And they have that weird voting system, that ranked choice voting system. Yeah. So kind of to give an update for our members is, so right now, as of this morning, Kelly Tshibaka is in the lead 44% to 42% over Lisa Murkowski. But we have to get to that second and third ballot, maybe even, in Alaska with that ranked choice voting. So what they're going to do next is drop off. There's a third Republican in the race, so they're going to drop off, and that Republican has about 6,000 votes. So we'll see where those votes go, and if they go to Tshibaka, that's going to be a huge plus for us. Or if they drop off and do nothing, then I don't know, who knows. But they're not expected to even go to those second and third ballots until November 23rd. So,
So we got a long time then.
We're going to be waiting on Alaska for a couple weeks, which is ridiculous. And that also matters in there. There's a House race up there that matters right now, and we can kind of talk about that a little bit later. But there are two Republicans on the ballot in the House there. Sarah Palin is the main one, and then there's also Begich, who was kind of the running to the conservative side of things. And they're kind of in the similar situation, but in their case, the Democrats actually in the lead. And this ranked choice voting system is what put a Democrat in office there for the first time in decades. So, I don't know, that's going to be one to watch going forward, and we'll provide an update here, I'm sure, eventually, about what happens in Alaska. But let's talk some more positive news in Missouri, which was one of our main races that we're looking at. We had Eric Schmidt, who is an NAGR PAC endorsed candidate, gun rights champion, former AG, and now we can say that he's Senator-elect Schmidt. He won his race 55 to 42, and so with a margin of 13%, that's a pretty significant win, and that's pretty awesome to see. We're really excited to see Eric in office.
That's a solid victory too, and it kind of, we talked about it in the last video, it builds off the fact that, Senator Rand Paul, gun rights champion, was reelected on Tuesday. Mike Lee was as well, and so now you got those two guys and Eric Schmidt. And there's other pro-gun senators as well. I'm just thinking adding to those numbers, regardless of what happens with the makeup of the final makeup of the Senate, bolstering those strong pro-gun senators and really seeing that when people run on that message, it wins.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought up Utah, because we didn't talk about that in our last video of that outside challenge from the Independent Party candidate Evan McMullin, which had some polling people kind of confused and thinking that Evan McMullin actually had a chance of beating Lee. It turns out no. Lee won by 10 points, so thankfully we kept our constitutional conservative there in Utah. But now flipping back to the more depressing news again, New Hampshire. We had talked about Don Bolduc being a NAGR 100% survey candidate. He lost his race by 9 points. And now polling, which again, polling is just such a pseudoscience at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But polling had that being very competitive, but he lost by almost double digits, and that's it was unfortunate to see on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's a tough state to win in. Again, we talked about it. it's kind of weird because on one hand, at the state level, New Hampshire has constitutional carry, which is great, but with federal offices, it's been a struggle to fight up there and get pro-gun people in the Senate.
And it's wild because their governor election went to the Republicans.
That's right.
By significantly. Kristen Sununu won significantly. So it's it's really unfortunate. I know you have history with the federal elections in New Hampshire, and it's with the last time we tried to take a Senate seat there, and that's tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just one of those reminders that as far as any of our viewers who live in New Hampshire or anywhere else, we just got to keep grinding when these elections come up and finding good candidates and getting the message out. It's a tough one to take on the chin, and I know also in Michigan, the governor's race, our PAC and our state group there, Great Lakes Gun Rights, were supporting Tudor Dixon, and she was unsuccessful in beating the incumbent governor. But, again, it's one of those things where, you can take the loss and be sad and sit around, or you can take the loss and regroup. And I know Brendan Boudreau with Great Lakes Gun Rights, I mean, they've got a lot of plans for their state projects coming up in 2023 and keep fighting there.
Yeah, Michigan's tough. Looks like, Republicans lost the House there as well. It's just wild to me as a general conservative, not just gun rights, but, just have someone like Gretchen Whitmer who, the lockdown queen, wins re-election by 11 points. That's it's tough to see.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed in that result as well.
What about the Southwest, like Nevada, Arizona?
Yeah. So what I want to tell you is that since we're filming on Friday here, and not really sure. That's unfortunately all I have for you. Is Nevada is kind of locked in a dead heat right now. Adam Laxalt is in the lead, 49-48, but there's a couple 100,000 votes still outstanding, and some of them, or a large section of them, is from Clark County, which includes Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, yeah.
And so hopefully we have Adam hold on to the lead there and kind of get that seat back that we lost in Pennsylvania, because John Fetterman somehow defeated a candidate who's mentally healthy anyway. So if we can keep Nevada and keep that seat, that's going to be huge for the future of the Senate.
Right.
But it sounds like we may not even know what's going to happen in Nevada until this time next week, because they're reporting that they won't have results until at least next Thursday. And that's, it's just, this whole process is so drawn out, even longer.
You can wonder why. I mean, a lot of people, get frustrated.
Yeah.
And then you throw in things like ranked choice voting, tons of mail-in voting, early voting, this and that, and it creates a pretty complicated system where it's not really an election day anymore.
Yeah.
It's this long, drawn-out process. But
we didn't have to wait in Florida.
Yeah, we didn't have to wait in Florida. I mean, Ron DeSantis crushed it there, along with a lot of other good conservative pro-gun individuals. But from a standpoint in the Senate, it really sounds like for gun owners, we're waiting on the results in Alaska, Arizona, Nevada, and then also Georgia, which Georgia's going to a runoff, correct?
Georgia's going to runoff for sure. That's 49-48 right now with Warnock in the lead. The Libertarian took 2% there, which is now kind of put us in a situation where no one can get 50%. And so that's going to definitely be in a runoff, which will be decided in early December. And the question is whether that's going to mean the fate of the Senate as well. Because last time we had a runoff in Georgia, it did mean the fate of the Senate.
Right.
But with Nevada still out there, Arizona's also still out there. There's still a lot of votes left to be counted in Arizona. So not ready to declare Mark Kelly, who's currently in the lead, gun grabber Mark Kelly, 51-46. Not really to declare him winner yet, because Maricopa can't figure that out either. They stopped counting for the weekend, and they're gonna, I guess, pick up counting on Monday. I don't know, but another one of those cases of a drawn-out election. So hopefully we could have Blake Masters pull off a comeback and take that seat. It's looking good for Kerry Lake there as to be the next governor of Arizona. But Blake Masters is a little bit more tricky. Hopefully we can get some good results coming out of there.
Right. And then North Carolina, what was status there?
Yeah, Ted Budd won pretty handily, or at least by 3 points. So that was good to see. There were a lot of concerns from pollsters saying that maybe Cherry Beasley had a chance, Democrat, but that turned out to be wrong, and Ted Budd secured that seat as he should, and so we're hoping to have a good gun-friendly hero in the Senate. So
great,
it's good.
Well, I know one of the things that we'll be doing too in the future once a lot of these races are decided, especially governors and the makeup of state legislatures as well. That would be a whole massively long video to get into, but we'll be talking with Brendan Boudreau, who's our director of kind of our state affairs and our state team, to really be talking about what our plans will be in 2023 at the state level, our legislative agenda. And then again, once we kind of see what the makeup is of the House and the Senate, it'll help inform us as an organization of what our plans are. Obviously we're always going to defend the Second Amendment and push pro-gun legislation, but it'll kind of show us what our focus is, and we'll keep all our viewers and our members in tune with what's going on. And so kind of to wrap it up, what, if you were to, I guess, to make a prediction, do you think Republicans, at least a pro-gun majority, take the House at this point?
Man, I just, it's what's been so disappointing this week is we thought we'd have a red wave landslide across the country, but it hasn't really proven out to be that case. Right now, the House, kind of depending on who you look at, who you ask, is sitting around 211 to 191 favoring Team R. It looks like we'll probably take the House, but it's going to be a narrow majority, maybe 220. Remember, the magic number is 218 for the majority. Yeah. So we'll maybe 220 Republican reps, which sets up for some interesting fights ahead.
Yeah.
That speaker position is going to be really interesting. I know there's some more conservative people who might be trying to challenge Kevin McCarthy, which could be some dramatic stuff going on in the next month or two. So that's going to be interesting. The Senate's looking even probably worse than the House right now, but if I were a betting man, I would say we take the House. We're not taking the Senate.
All right.
But who knows? A lot of things are still up in the air. We'll find out.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate everybody joining us here. If you aren't subscribed to our YouTube channel, smash that Liberty bell and give us a follow. Also, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can go to gunrights.org, check out our website, so you can get involved. And again, really thinking about the state of play with the elections going on, this is why it's important to be involved in the fight to preserve and restore our Second Amendment rights. It is the actions of grassroots gun owners and grassroots voters that makes the change in America to keep our country free, to keep it prosperous, where we get to celebrate our freedoms. And so we're going to continue fighting, but we need you to join us in that battle. So stay tuned for more. We'll keep updating you here on YouTube about the races that are going on and the fights that we are getting involved with. Thanks for your support.
Thank you.